Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narasimhan. Government oil companies have now released new prices of petrol and diesel starting today, the 1st of April, that have made fuel cheaper in many parts, many states of Bharat. After this cut, the price of petrol in the national capital, Delhi, is now 94.72 rupees per litre, down by 2 rupees. It was earlier 96.72 rupees per litre. In Mumbai, also, the price of petrol fell by a little more than 1 rupee. Oil cos also decreased the prices of both 19 kilogram commercial cylinders and the 5 kilogram free trade LPG cylinders. The price of a 19 kg commercial cylinder now has actually decreased by nearly 30.5 rupees or 30.5 rupees. 2 aircraft have been manufactured by HAL that have been delivered to Guyana. These would help in connecting remote areas, medical evacuation and disaster response. Indian High Commissioner welcoming the Indian Air Force team visiting Guyana and hailed it as a new chapter in India-Guyana partnership. Meanwhile, HAL or the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited has recorded the highest ever revenue from operations of over 29 crore rupees in the last financial year. The Bengaluru headquartered Defence PSU has registered double-digit growth of around 11% as against 9% in the previous financial year. Bharat's defence exports have reached an all-time high of 21,083 crore rupees in the financial year 2023-24 with a 32.5% jump in FY24 compared to the previous financial year. The confirmation coming from the Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh himself, who hailed these heights and witnessed for the first time in the history of independent India. So the HAL that was making losses now is making profits. Our defense exports have gone up, ladies and gentlemen. Let's now set up the big story here on this edition of The Right Stand, and this is also the subject for the first debate. We are less than a month ahead of the first vote being cast. Yes, 19th of April actually, ladies and gentlemen, when the ballot will be cast in the first phase of elections. Now, with a firm eye on the southern states to achieve that Mission 370, the BJP now picking up an issue that involves a small island, which name itself in Tamil means barren island, Katchatheevu. This is a small island of the coast of Tamil Nadu and 20 miles away from Dhanushkodi, an island formed due to volcanic eruptions in the 14th century. Katchatheevu was passed down from the control of the Jaffna kingdom or Jaffna Patna to the Ramanad or the Ramanathapuram provincial Zamindari. Then it was handed over to the British. Post-independence, Sri Lanka pressed its claims on the island and did not allow Indian Navy to conduct exercises on this island without its permission, and this lasted through the 50s, into the 60s and then into the 70s. It is now at the center of a heated political debate. Over the last few years, an increasing number of fishermen from Bharat have been arrested by the Sri Lankan Navy in this very region. But the reason it now is part of news is because of an RTI reply. This reply has put former Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, former Prime Minister Srimati Indira Gandhi, the former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M. Karunanidhi, all in the dock for giving up claim on this island, giving up Bharat's sovereignty on this island, especially because the reasons for doing so, as per the documents that we have accessed, seem flimsy. Despite strong opinion that Bharat has a strong legal case, did we just give this island up? RTI documents reveal that Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru dismissed the issue as inconsequential. Documents prepared by the then Commonwealth Secretary reveal Bharat's alleged indecision over pursuing this entire island and our claim to sovereignty, and finally giving up the claim in 1974. The documents also show how the then MEA's Joint Secretary had concluded that Bharat has a good legal case which could be leveraged for securing fishing rights. Then why did we give this island up? Why did this island, today of strategic significance, political implications, and more importantly, a matter of livelihood, and for many, a matter of faith too, ladies and gentlemen, why did we give it up? Now, before we get into that, let me first tell you where this island actually is. Katchatheevu is an uninhabited island offshore And this is in the Park Bay, and you've got the map there, and that red dot points it out there. The 285-acre land was jointly administered by Bharat and Sri Lanka during the British rule. It is the result of a volcanic eruption in the seas in the 14th century, beg your pardon, and it's been there since then. It forms a boundary between Bharat and Sri Lanka, and that line is the agreed upon line since 1974. It lies northeast of Rameswaram and is its own religious significance because there is an old Roman Catholic church there, and of course there is an altar of St. Anthony's. It's just 33 kilometers from the coastline and is given the growing Chinese presence in this entire region. This island's strategic importance can only be further underlined. It is also much closer to Bharat than it is to the Sri Lankan coast, and it's evident from the map itself. The Katchatheevu issue has come back into the limelight after the Prime Minister accused both the Congress and DMK of callously giving away the island in 1974. Documents obtained through ITI pin the blame on former Prime Ministers Jawaharlal Nehru and Indira Gandhi. Now here's more from this RTI copy. We've got a 14-page annexure also with us. The first revelation that comes to the fore that Pandit Nehru declared he attached no importance to this little island. He also said he wouldn't hesitate to give up claim on this island. Indira Gandhi called it uninhabited cluster of sand and rocks. M. Karunanidhi was informed about the negotiations with Sri Lanka. The then Chief Minister had said that he was inclined to accept the solution. But because of political ramifications in Tamil Nadu, he wouldn't publicly endorse it. Now here's a look at the entire timeline of negotiations. In 1960, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru downplayed this entire matter. The MEA acknowledged legal complexities again in the 60s of the island's sovereignty. 1961, the AG believed Bharat had a stronger case based on historical rights. 1974, after years of negotiations, decision to relinquish the claim. 1974, the Indira government deciding to cede control of the island. 1974, formalized through Indo-Sri Lanka Maritime Agreement. So there were agreements on paper. Why then are Bharat's fishermen at sea, both literally and figuratively? There were two agreements that were inked between Bharat and Sri Lanka. In 1974, the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and Sri Lankan Prime Minister Sirima Bandaranaike signed an agreement that ceded Katchatheevu to Sri Lanka. The 1974 agreement allowed Bharat's fishermen to access the island. Access was given for resting, drying nets and visiting the St. Anthony Shrine without a visa. In 1976, a supplementary agreement prohibited fishermen from both nations from fishing in each other's exclusive economic zones without permission. The agreements have been contentious to say the least, and this has only further increased the fracas. More importantly, hurt to Bharat's fishermen because of strong presence of the Sri Lankan Navy there, who shoot first and then ask questions later. And this was also because of the long time Tamil-Sri Lanka Sinhala internal civil war, and where the allegation made by the Sinhala-led Sri Lankan government was that Tamil support to the LTTE was coming via these islands, and this island was a pit stop for also illegal entrants into Bharat. Several questions arise on why Bharat didn't fight harder. After all, while the scale of the island may be unimportant, its location strategically is very, very important. Katchatheevu Island is located in the Park Strait between Bharat and Sri Lanka. The island has been a point of contention in the region's geopolitics given Sri Lanka's recent proximity with China. And in fact, this issue, presence of a pro-China lobby in Sri Lanka, was flagged off even in the 1960s, ladies and gentlemen. That's what the documents show. Now, according to reports, recently, the Sri Lankan government reportedly leased land around the Delft Island and Katchatheevu, this region only, to Chinese power companies, citing the possible presence of oil reserves or oil deposits in that region. Katchatheevu has the potential to serve as a site for naval activities to counter increasing Chinese presence. Many of Bharat's fishermen's livelihoods depend on access to the waters around Katchatheevu. 2 miles here and there could mean the difference between a very, very healthy catch and absolutely nothing, ladies and gentlemen. That's the importance of this entire region. Ambiguity around the agreements has also led to the arrest of many fishermen and confiscation of equipment by the Sri Lankan Navy. As recently as 2022, the Sri Lankans had charged as much as 10 million as ransom to release the Indian fishermen. Katchatheevu Island also holds cultural and religious significance for people in Bharat and in Sri Lanka as well. It is the home to St. Anthony's Shrine, which is an important religious site for pilgrims from both nations. So let's dive into this and say who's at fault here. Is the BJP at fault for raking this up when back in 2015 itself there was an underlying perhaps establishment or reiteration of Katchatheevu by the Modi-led government? Why this change in position today? C.R. Keshavan, national spokesperson of the BJP, is with us. On the other hand, DMK Congress, not a blade of grass grows there, was said about accusation, and its barren and untouched land is said about Katchatheevu. So top and tail, relinquishing land, giving up an important portion of the run of Kutch to Pakistan, again under Indira Gandhi. Lot of aspects where we compromised on our sovereignty and strategically important land regions, of which we are facing the consequences today. Amarika V. Narayanan, Congress leader, with us, and Pulla Rao, political analyst, with us. Mr. Pulla Rao, where do you stand on this before we get the Congress and BJP into it?
Can you see me? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Let me tell you straight away, I don't mind this issue being raked up for discussion. I don't mind this lesson of history that we shouldn't do this. But I felt a little upset that when the Prime Minister raises this issue, it is a very, very serious affair. Do you repudiate, reject agreements that the government of India signed? Fine, if you find it unjust. Then you will be towing the Chinese line. What do the Chinese say? That the agreement between Britain and Tibet on the McMahon line was signed when Tibet was a weak state and Britain was a superpower, so we reject the agreement. Or for that matter, you know what the Chinese are doing in the South China Sea. They're neglecting all the old agreements. There has to be, yes, you have explained very well, it's an emotional issue. It is, nobody could imagine in 1960s that one day there will be something called underground, undersea oil, and well, all this was in the past. But by raking it up, you're alienating Sri Lanka further and you're not going to get back the island. Is it just for the Prime Minister to give a lesson in history or warn us? I personally believe that it is not an issue you rake up because we got so many other such agreements. The Legal and Treaties Division of the Ministry of External Affairs is chock-a-block with hundreds of such agreements which have favored India for the simple reason that Britain negotiated it for us before 1947. Maybe the northeastern boundaries, maybe other boundaries, or what the Britain did between Afghanistan and Pakistan, the Durand line. So is it worthwhile to say, alas, this was badly done? And one more point I would say, I'm sure the congressman can defend the Congress party, but prime ministers and leaders take decisions on the need of the moment. Right. They don't anticipate 50 years hence. And don't forget, what was India's state after the 62 war? Then the 65 war with Pakistan. America against us. Britain against us. And we were surrounded. At that time, as you mentioned, Sirmawa Bandar Naik was the Prime Minister. She was pro-Chinese and all of that. There had to be peace on one side. Maybe temporary peace. If it's such a bad agreement, maybe 100 years hence it will be revised. But it is most inappropriate. It should never become political football. And finally, is it going to get votes for the BJP? I don't think so. These are issue after issue after issues which are good for debate and good for saying, I got you.
Pulla Rao ji, do you know what happened on the 18th of August 2023?
No, you can elaborate a little bit.
Mr. Do you know who's the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister? Thiru M.K. Stalin?
Yeah.
He's the one who said, retrieving Katchatheevu from Sri Lanka, that's the only way that it will permanently end the problems of fishermen of Bharat.
Yes, and he is the same man who said, you have Tamil Elam. So they say many things. He is not Prime Minister of the country.
But he's Chief Minister of the state, sir.
He is not, yes, He is not the custodian of our national sovereignty.
He's chief minister of the state, and
He's
did he
chief
forget
minister.
that his own father, his own father, the very respected
Father
Mr.
took a
Muthuvel
patriotic
Karunanidhi,
stance. Father took a patriotic stance. Father said fine. Father took a patriotic stance when the government asked him. Mr. Stalin is the chief minister.
Father took a patriotic stance by saying give the island away.
No, he said I won't raise issues because the government of India.
The chief minister once again signified his general acceptance of the suggested solution, said that for obvious political reasons he could not be expected to take a public stand in favor of it. The chief minister, however, assured the foreign secretary that he will help keep the reaction at a low key and would not allow for it to be played up. 20th of June 1974, this is the note of the then Joint Secretary who had briefed the Chief Minister, Mr. M. Karunanidhi. This is what I have, sir, as an annexure of the RTI, the full document, and this is what it's titled. Record of talks held in Madras, which Sri M. Karunanidhi, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, on 19th of June 1974. Foreign Secretary Sri Keval Singh, accompanied by the Director Historical Division Sri B.K. Basu, called on the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Sri M. Karunanidhi, at the Secretariat Conference Room, Fort St. George, Madras, on the 19th of June 1974 at 11 a.m. It's all documented here. It's not a figment of my imagination. It is signed, and this is where Mr. M. Karunanidhi said, I will allow you to do it, but I will not talk about it because of political ramifications internally in Tamil Nadu. So that's Mr. Karunanidhi, and he did it for patriotic reasons. But Mr. M.K. Stalin, when he raises it in 18th of August 2023, it is inconsequential. We should overlook it. But we should consider it ahead of the elections because the Prime Minister has spoken about it, Mr. Pullarao. C.R. Keshavan of the BJP is there. Let him respond.
First thing, Anand, I'd like to say, this is a matter which is being, the people, the fishermen and the fisherwomen, our brothers and sisters who go out to the seas for their livelihood on a daily basis, face peril and their lives are at danger. They're being attacked, they're being shot at, they're being detained, they're being imprisoned, and some of them have lost their lives. So it is not political. This is about the interests of the Tamil people. You very clearly explained the nonchalant, indifferent attitude which was carried on by the daughter Indira Gandhi from Nehru. When G. Vishwanathan, a parliament member from Tamil Nadu, raised a question saying, you show so much interest about Deoga Garcia, which is so many thousand miles away, but why are you not attaching importance to Katchatheevu, which is 40 nautical miles away? She dismissed it, saying it's a little raw. But the foreign minister today, with his press conference and detailing the RTA document, what has come about is it's unmasked, it's exposed. The Shakuni-like match fixing of the DMK Congress, the devious nexus and the dubious double standards of the DMK Congress, who betrayed the Tamil people and gave Katchatheevu and compromised on India's integrity and sovereignty. Let's look at what has come out today with these documents. Like you said, DMK was ruling in the state, Centre was ruling the Congress, the same India alliance was back in alliance then. Just 7 days before this Katchatheevu agreement was signed on June 26, 1974, on June 19th, they come here to tell the chief minister, who is in general acceptance, and then he says, I won't speak about it publicly, but I will, I understand and I will keep the reaction low-key. This is what I call Shakuni like match fixing. The problem
Sir, then what happened on the 27th?
Anand, 1 second. 21 times the Tamil Nadu chief minister has written, these people act as if they are the sole proprietors of the welfare of the Tamil fishermen and women. They shed crocodile tears and they completely conveniently mask the role they have played in gifting away Katchatheevu. So, like the foreign minister said, not only who did it, the Congress party, who hid it, the DMK party has been exposed today. And giving away Katchatheevu is the fountainhead. It's the root cause why your fishermen, brothers and sisters, are being attacked every day, and the people are angered because they've seen this and they demand an apology. The Congress and the DMK should come out to the nation and the Tamil people and apologize not for this blunder, but this betrayal.
Okay, now what happened on the 27th of January 2015? If my memory serves me right, before I bring in Mr. Americanar, if my memory serves me right, the current Prime Minister was the Prime Minister then. It was the NDA under Prime Minister Narendra Modi only in power. Sir, I am reading this very clearly. The answer, this is given an RTI reply. The RTI reply says, and I'm just going to increase it. Yeah. Katchatheevu Island lies on Sri Lanka side of India-Sri Lanka International Maritime Boundary Line, IMBL, that was delineated by the 1974 agreement demarcating it in the Park Straits and the subsequent 1976 agreement demarcating it in the Gulf of Mannar and Bay of Bengal. This did not involve either acquiring or ceding of territory belonging to Bharat, since the area in question has never been demarcated. Under the agreements, the island of Katchatheevu lies on Sri Lankan side of the India-Sri Lanka International Maritime Boundary Line. Signed Dr. Rajiv Ranjan, Under Secretary, Sri Lanka and CPIO.
Let me respond. In 1974, the Katchatheevu Agreement gave away the Katchatheevu Island, but you retained fishing rights, navigation rights and pilgrimage rights. So why do you need an agreement if it is not yours? Then why did the Congress government in 1976 forfeit these rights? Only because they forfeit these rights, the Sri Lankan Navy shoots at our fishermen brothers and sisters. So this is a diversion, deflection and distraction tactic by the DMK which they post today. And let me reiterate again, only because of the Prime Minister's initiative speaking to Sri Lankan counterpart and the Foreign Minister's initiative speaking to his counterpart, you have saved and released so many of these prisoners who have been imprisoned and detained there. So let us not forget that. And let me tell you this, Prime Minister Modi will come back for a third term. There is a Modi ki guarantee. This betrayal will be resolved, but the DMK and Congress will pay for it.
Okay, America and Narayanan, please respond. There are multiple documents which show that there is no copy of the enclosed agreement or ceding of land. This is a 27 January statement that has been said that no ceding of territory actually happened. This is Sri Lankan territory. Then there is another RTI, 1st of October 2013. As per records available with the ministry, there is no agreement on Katchatheevu belonging to the governments of India and Sri Lanka. However, a copy of the agreement on the boundary in historic waters between the two countries and related matters signed on 26 June 1976 is enclosed. So that's what repeated RTI queries have foretold. But now suddenly the RTI says all of this information has come out. Yes, Mr. Narayanan.
I'm glad finally you have given me the time. I remember it is none other than Vajpayee who accused our Prime Minister there has to be a Rajniti. You do not do things when you are in the government for petty politics. He has been warned once during the Gujarat riot. Now, unfortunately, the Prime Minister, for itsy-bitsy advantage, electoral advantage, is trying to rake up an issue between the country, which is not even in the periphery of the Tamil Nadu election. As Mr. Rao has pointed out, it's not going to yield result. But I can tell you that he is playing external affairs between the country for petty advantage. He ought to have been a statesman. Instead, he is being a petty politician. Number two, the Prime Minister of India has recently ceded 2,000 square kilometers of the land between China and India. In comparison, the land that has been given is 2 kilometers. So you can see, we are talking about 80 years back, giving it 2 square kilometers of land, whereas now the Prime Minister since 2020 has given away 2,000 square kilometers. Number three, the Prime Minister of India should have really, in an agreement with Bangladesh, gave away about 100 and odd places and took about 55 of them back. Now, is this the way that when he has done it because he wanted the bilateral relationship between Bangladesh and India to be in a friendly manner, and we never questioned it because we are patriots. We know what is good for the country. We don't rake up the issue between the countries on where it is advantageous to India. For example, after Prime Minister Mr. Modi ji has taken over, now we have lost Maldives, which has been a friendly nation. Nepal, which has been a Hindu nation, which has been always been with us, has gone away. Sri Lanka now is allowing China into Sri Lanka, and even Burma, there's a problem. Pakistan is a problem. It is our Prime Minister, Indira Gandhi, who broke Pakistan and got us Bangladesh. This Prime Minister who says he has a 56-inch is no comparison to the brave lady of India who bifurcated the Pakistan and gave away the Bangladesh. The Prime Minister of India is really ought to be looking at it as a statesman, but unfortunate, he is playing petty politics. Now, you talked about an RTI in 2015. You said the date is 2013. It's 2015
No,
RTI.
I am reading two separate RTIs. America Veerararan. Please, let's not confuse.
Wait,
I read the first RTI. No, please don't misquote me, sir. I will object.
Give me about 30 seconds, then you can...
Sir, please don't misquote me. My humble request, 27 January 2015, I read one RTI order.
Okay,
1st of October 2013, I read the next RTI order. Go ahead, please.
I'm sorry. I misquoted you. The 2015 thing you read yourself has been given by the Modi Sarkar. Nothing has been given away. There has been a dispute. Unlike Modi giving out 2,000 square kilometers after 2020, it has not been given away. There has been a dispute. The dispute has been resolved. And in return, we got land near Kanyakumari where we had fishing rights, which we did not have earlier. Okay. In addition, the 6 lakh Tamilians were allowed into India who were not having thing. And the second thing is that the several Tamilians got Sri Lankan citizenship. And most important thing I want to ask the Prime Minister, if he's really talking about Tamil Nadu fishermen, why is he not given any flood relief to Tamil Nadu? Why is he giving only 29 rupees on every 100 rupees of tax we are giving to the center?
Right. Okay.
Can I respond quickly?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Anand, first thing is, it is sad to see Narayananji, a very seasoned person, continuing the indifference, dismissive attitude, carelessness and insensitive attitude of Nehru, Indira Gandhi to compare the size of the land. It is not please don't interrupt me. It is not the size of the land. Because you forfeited the land and the navigation pass, people are dying. It doesn't matter how much size of the land matters. It is of strategic importance and people are suffering, dying and being detained because of that. Second thing, today I want to call out the bluff of Mr. Chidambaram and Jairam Ramesh who tweeted. They said, in exchange 6 lakh people were repatriated. This is a lie, Anand. You check. You're good with facts. This was the Sri Mao Shastri Ji Pact in 1964. It dealt with 9,75,000 people, out of which 5,25,000 people were to be repatriated, 3 lakh people were to be given citizenship, and 1,50,000 people were to be dealt later. And there was another accord signed in 1974 which discussed about 75,000 people getting citizenship and repatriation. So the 6 lakh people was done by Shastri Ji, but the dynastic party, how can they give credit to Shastri Ji? They'll only give credit to Indira Ji. The fact happened in 1964 and they're saying 6 lakh people came out in 1974. That's a white lie. I want to call that lie.
And then, it is unfortunate. I need to come in.
Let me complete, sir.
I need to come in, please.
I didn't interrupt you. I can shout over too. I didn't interrupt you. Again, what I want to reiterate, Anand, these are the lies said by these people. This is not a political issue. It is a issue which concerns the people. And first thing you should ask is when people say, BJP raises it, why is not a DMK spokesperson here or an official Congress person? Because they don't have a face to defend. The Chief Minister has written 21 times talking about Katchatheevu when his own DMK government and his father as Chief Minister have colluded in gifting away this land. So that is the crux of the matter, and their bluff has been called today. They have been unmasked, and the height of hypocrisy has been exposed, and which is why they will eventually pay for this in the public realm, and the people of Tamil Nadu will not forgive them and will teach them a fitting lesson.
The transfer of Katchatheevu to 1 minute, Mr. America Narayanan. The transfer of I'm coming to you after this. Please hear me out. The transfer of Katchatheevu to Sri Lanka by the union government without the state government's consent has deprived Tamil Nadu fishermen's rights and adversely impacted their livelihood. This is Thiru M.K. Stalin writing to the Prime Minister ahead of or just around the time Ranil Wickramasinghe was going to visit India, and this is in August 2023. Last year, America V. Narayanan, who is raising the issue of Katchatheevu, and who is alleging that this was done without the consent of the state government? Mr. M.K. Stalin, your own ally in Tamil Nadu and part of the India alliance, is making this allegation against who? Against our former Prime Minister, Srimati Indira Gandhi, tall Congress leader, who you were just praising. So, Mr. Stalin, is Mr. Stalin saying the truth or is he lying?
First thing, just like BJP stole Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, now they are also trying to steal Lal Bahadur Shastri, because in nowhere, since you were trying to show Indira Gandhi, I said they gotten into it in the interest of India. Now you are saying, and I did not say anything negative about Lal Bahadur Shastri. Lal Bahadur Shastri, don't take away Lal Bahadur Shastri, steals Lal Bahadur Shastri like you have stolen Sardar Patel from us because you don't have any leader to speak of. The second thing is that the real question, the Prime Minister today is shedding crocodile tears because
is Mr. M.K. Stalin lying or is he saying the truth? Did Mrs. Indira Gandhi give away Katchatheevu to Sri Lanka?
Keshavan,
this is Anand Narasimhan here, Mr. America Narayanan. I am asking you, Mr. Narayanan. Mr. America Narayanan, can you hear me, sir? If you can hear Mr. America Narayanan, this is Anand Narasimhan here. I am asking you, Mr. M.K. Stalin has claimed that the transfer of Katchatheevu to Sri Lanka happened without the state government's consent. It's on paper written to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, but the transfer happened in 1974 during the time of Indira Gandhi. Is Mr. M.K. Stalin saying the truth or is he being economical with facts?
Well, I'm not here representing Mr. Stalin, so I cannot answer.
You are representing the Congress party and Mrs. Indira Gandhi. Did Mrs. Indira Gandhi not inform Mr. Karunanidhi?
I will answer that.
Did Mrs. Indira Gandhi take the decision without informing Mr. Muthuvel Karunanidhi?
Even today, we don't know the RTI date that was Annamalai has applied and when he got the thing. You guys had a plan to rake up a dead issue and
you still are not answering the question. Why are you not? It's a simple question, sir. Is Mr. M.K. Stalin saying the truth? Did Mrs. Indira Gandhi keep Mr. Karunanidhi involved or is he being economical with facts? Again, you will not answer.
Mr. Stalin may not be privy and what he questioned, what he believed to be true.
He is not privy to his own father's decision. He is not privy to his own father's decision.
I'm asking you, are you familiar? See, you
I am asking you, sir. So then
your
if
family,
okay,
do you know
let me ask you this.
Your father made a certain decision?
Mr. Narayanan, let me ask you this. Now that this information has come out, should Mr. Stalin make any more claims around
What is the date of the RTI filing and response? Can you please give that to me?
I can tell you the date of this communication, 20th of June 1974. Yes, Mr. Pullarao. Mr. Pullarao, my simple point to you, Mr. Pullarao. If Mr. Stalin was not aware of this information, now will Mr. Stalin recuse himself and retract the 21 letters that he has sent so far? Will he then say that no, my father was inclined to accept general acceptance of the solution?
You're bypassing my question, Anand.
Mr. Pullarao.
Mr. Annamalai asked this question, RTI.
Sir, please ask that question of the BJP or Mr. Annamalai. I can only ask question of the information in present front of here. You said Mrs. Indira Gandhi should be credited for resolving an issue. Mr. Stalin has said that the state government was not kept in the loop. The RTI reply says that then Chief Minister of the state of Tamil Nadu was inclined, he was briefed twice and he had accepted the solution. Yes, Mr. Pullarao. Then Mr. Stalin, should he retract his letter?
There is one thing is, Mr. Stalin has made an economic and political demand. What prevailed in 1974 may not prevail in 2024. There are new demands. In those days when they did this transaction, they did not have this kind of knowledge. And therefore, you'll have to excuse them. You have to look forward. And he wants the rights to be renegotiated. That's all he has asked. There's nothing wrong in that. And I might also point out there's a small historical error which Mr. America Narayanan has said. Nepal was handed over to... Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Nepal was handed over, Mr. Narayanan, by Manmohan Singh to the Chinese in 2008. I just wanted to make a historical correct. The king was overthrown, India endorsed it, and now we got an enemy on our head. That's just a historical fact. But coming back, I still believe the Prime Minister, with all his knowledge of foreign affairs, should not have got into this.
No, sir.
I appreciate
no,
the
sir.
Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister has every right to put forth the facts in place. Mr. Stalin on the one hand is telling the fisher folk that your interests are being compromised because Katchatheevu was given away. Then Mr. Stalin has to accept that his father, the then Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, was aware of the decision to hand over Katchatheevu by Bharat to perhaps get a larger, greater solution, sir. That's what you are saying right now. 5th of March was when the RTI was filed, 12th of March when the response was given. So within a week, this response came to the fore. Mr. Amarikavi Narayanan, your question also answered. Annamalai filed the RTI response on the 5th of March. Our team is telling me right now via my earpiece. Yes, Mr. Keshavan, the alacrity in the response. Final word, Mr. Keshavan.
Your show is called The Right Stand. The right stand has been taken by the Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister in exposing these people, dubious elements who played a Shakuni-like match fixing to betray the Tamil people and cede Katchatheevu, and they have been so dubious that they have been claiming that they are the protectors of these people whom they betrayed. That is why who did it and who hid it has been exposed. And let me just say one thing: they're talking about politics. These people have written it in the manifesto of the DMK. This is the height of hypocrisy. You conspired, colluded and connived and gave away the land with your partner Congress in 74, and today you come and say you will get justice for the betrayal you have done.
Interestingly,
all that we need to do is go to the people and ask pardon and apologies.
I am running out of time, but I interestingly want to say that the time or around the same time that the DMK Chief Minister then Mr. Karunanidhi Pertis in principle agreed and said I will not publicly say. And we've got information now, and I'm just going to read this, that a DMK leader at that time, he actually raised concern.
Irasarian.
Yes, Irasarian at that time.
He was completely clueless. They kept their own party members in the dark. He raised in parliament without knowing that the DMK was speaking to the Congress central government and giving it away. That's the kind of double game they played. That is why I said it's Shakuni match fixing.
Well, the matter is out there. Katchatheevu has been yielded, just like accusation, just like those portions of the run of
2,000 square kilometers.
Do you have proof of that 2,000 square kilometers, sir? 640 square kilometers is as recorded by Mr. Shyam Saran under the UPA that was ceded in 4 years between 2008 and 2012. Mr. Shyam Saran's matter is on record. The 2,000 kilometers that you have repeatedly claimed here on the show, do you have any written proof of the same, sir? If you have proof, please put it out here and we'll ask the government. But Mr. Shyam Saran's chronicle says 640 square kilometers of land belonging to Bharat was taken over by the Chinese under the UPA 2 rule. That's what he has actually put out there. Would you have to say anything there? And the Prime Minister of Bharat said not a blade of grass grows there. And today you know that the biggest headache for us strategically sits on top of our head in accusation. So quite rich when it comes to allegations, but let's talk facts and what is there documented. What is documented is that the son is asking who gave away Katchatheevu without the state's consent, and while the father says that he was accepted to incline, he accepted and he was inclined to accept the solution quietly, not in public domain because it will politically hurt us. So who played the double game with the people of Tamil Nadu is a question that remains. Let the viewers decide. We've put the facts out. Thank you very much. I have to wind up for the moment, ladies and gentlemen. Winding up this debate, ladies and gentlemen, we take a very, very short break. When we come back, we will debate Ligacade. But on the way out, one of the first persons to petition as a young, upcoming journalist soon after graduation, Mr. Brij Khandelwal, had petitioned the courts even in 1973, even before this agreement was signed, saying you cannot give up a single land or piece of Bharat to anybody else. The government of the day should not have the right to give up any part that is integral to Bharat. But that petition then was dismissed. We had a conversation with him a short while ago. Here's an excerpt. Joining